Hello and welcome to Reportage. This is Danish bin Nabi. We have joined the Bharat Jodo Yatra at Katwa, and to talk about the Yatra and other issues pertaining to Kashmir, I am joined by senior politician and veteran congressman, Mr. Jairam Ramesh. Mr. Ramesh, welcome to Reportage.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Same here, sir. Explain me the essence of this Yatra.
The essence of this yatra is ideological. This is not for elections. This is not to make the Congress a mightier election machine to face the 2023 or 2024 election. This yatra is conceived to take on the BJP and the RSS ideologically. And the three threats that the Congress sees to Indian society, to Indian democracy, to the republic: one, growing economic inequality; two, intensifying social polarization; and three, political dictatorship. These are three grave threats that are threatening the unity of India. And that is why we are calling it Bharat Jodo.
What about the hate that has been institutionalized?
What about, sorry?
What about the hate that has been
That is what I am saying. That is part of the social polarization agenda. Religion, caste, language, region. You see, diversity has defined India for centuries. We have linguistic diversity, religious diversity, ethnic diversity. We have diversity of all types. We have diversity of all types. But now diversity is being used to divide us. And that is what I think poses the greatest threat to the Indian society. Moment we lose our diversity, we cease to be India. So everybody says India is an example of unity in diversity. But it's only the Congress that says it's not unity in diversity alone, but unity through diversity.
Unity through diversity.
Through diversity. Because if you celebrate diversity, you strengthen unity. What the BJP and the RSS want is uniformity. We want unity. And that unity will come only if you recognize, if you respect, and if you celebrate diversity. So that's the essence of the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
What about Jammu and Kashmir? Because Jammu and Kashmir obviously holds a special space as far as Indian Constitution is concerned. The Constitution is concerned. It actually holds a special space.
Well, you know,
in the overall Indian, in the overall country's political.
I can tell you, as an Indian, I felt immensely diminished by the manner in which the political character of Jammu and Kashmir was changed on the 5th of August 2019 because of a brute majority of the BJP in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. And the worst insult to me as an Indian, I can imagine the hurt to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, but the worst insult I felt as an Indian was the downgrading of the status, the political status of Jammu and Kashmir, from being a full-fledged state with a democratically elected assembly to that of a union territory governed by the whims and fancies of the Home Minister and the Prime Minister.
If I am correct, this is for the first time that you have entered Jammu and Kashmir after reading down of the special status. Do you feel any change now in the state?
You know, I'm not a stranger to Jammu and Kashmir. I used to come here when I was minister. From 2006 to 2014, I used to come here almost every month. Every other month I used to come. And we launched a large number of development programs. First when Mufti Saab was Chief Minister, then Ghulam Nabi Azad was Chief Minister, and then Omar Abdullah was Chief Minister. So, you know, a lot of claims are being made about the economic and political transformation of Jammu and Kashmir since 5th of August 2019. I think the facts completely belie the claims that are being made. And I think the most important thing, as far as I can see, as a student of Indian political history, somebody who is immersed in politics for so many years, is that the democratic process has to be revived. Jamhuriyat has to be revived, and Jammu and Kashmir must occupy its place in the list of states. It should not be reduced, as I said, to a UT. Yeah, I think I felt diminished as an Indian, and I can imagine
The plight
what
of
you
the
or
local
anybody else
Kashmiris.
in Jammu and Kashmir would have felt.
In Jammu and Kashmir, with a frontier state, Pakistan holds an important savvy over the state as far as the political dispensation is concerned. Do you feel that the Modi government has failed to reach out to the Pakistan?
Well, I am not privy to what the Modi government has done, both through the front channel and through the back channel. But yes, I mean, the Shimla Agreement of 1972 recognized that the Jammu and Kashmir issue is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, and that it needs to be resolved through peace and negotiations. Successive prime ministers, Mr. Vajpayee, Dr. Manmohan Singh, Mr. Gujral before then, have all made attempts. I'm sure Mr. Modi also made some attempt, at shawl diplomacy and mango diplomacy, and going in unannounced, and meeting Nawaz Sharif, using some industrialist as a intermediary. I'm sure he's tried all that. But we have to get our act together. I mean, yes, there is a very serious issue on cross-border terrorism. Yes, Pakistan has a vested interest in destabilizing any peace and normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir. But I think, frankly, the most important step we need to take is to restore the democratic process in the state, make it a full-fledged, in the Union Territory, make it a state, and then use the democratic process to reach out to different sections of society, address their grievances. I mean, even the Kashmiri Pandits feel aggrieved in the last 4 years. I mean, this is one constituency that the BJP claimed is its natural constituency. But you look at the frustration among the Kashmiri Pandits themselves. So I think, Dr. Manmohan Singh made a heroic effort at creating a consensus, both in Jammu and Kashmir and outside Jammu and Kashmir. Unfortunately, since the last 3.5 years, no effort has been made to create that political consensus, both within Jammu and Kashmir and outside. There's been no dialogue between the Modi government and, say, for example, the opposition parties on what should be a roadmap
Mr.
for Jammu and Kashmir.
Mr. Ramesh, can you explain to me, in 2006, 2007, when Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, India and Pakistan were close to a deal as far as Kashmir is concerned. What actually happened? Why?
Well,
why
I have no inside knowledge. People say that they were close to a deal in the Agra summit between Vajpayee and Musharraf. Then they were close to a deal when Dr. Manmohan Singh. I really don't have any intimate knowledge of what these deals were. But I do know that between 2006 and 2014, the Manmohan Singh government started a very large number of initiatives. First, when I was in commerce, then we set up, when I was power minister, the Chenab Valley Corporation to build power projects. Then, when I was environment minister, the cleanup of the Wooler Lake, for example, and the Dal Lake. And then, when I was rural development minister, we started a whole series of schemes like Himayat and Udan and this women's self-help group all across the state. So, developmental activity really got intensified. First, when Mufti Saab was CM, then when Ghulam Nabi Azad ji was CM, and then when Omar Abdullah was CM. After that, of course, my involvement as a minister was not there because in 2014 we lost. But I can tell you that the amount of time that I personally spent on issues of Jammu and Kashmir, for example, I took a lot of personal satisfaction in the fact that we set up the Entrepreneurship Development Institute in Pampore. Unfortunately, that got bombed. But that was a beautiful a wonderful initiative.
And it again comes to square one. All these initiatives, until and unless the political settlement of Jammu and Kashmir,
I agree.
which
I
is a
mean,
hard question,
the political process.
which Congress as a party needs to address head on.
No, we had the political process. In 2002, elections were held. I remember the one national leader who campaigned the most extensively in Jammu and Kashmir was the Congress president, Srimati Sonia Gandhi. She campaigned, my God, the amount of travel she did in Jammu and Kashmir for the 2002 election. And we formed a coalition. And I think really 2002 onwards, as I said, the 6 years of the Mufti Ghulam Nabi regime and then the Omar Abdullah regime, the enormous, almost 12 years that there was huge developmental activity that was initiated. I remember rural roads, for example, the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, which was stuck for a variety of reasons, some of which had to do with land acquisition and the cost of land acquisition. You know, cost of land is, I don't have to tell you, you know better than me, cost of land here is very, very high. So we, you know, we had a breakthrough on the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana when Omar was the chief minister. I was the rural development minister. When I was the power minister, I remember my good friend Hasib Drabu was then the chairman of the J&K Bank, and we worked very closely to set up this Chenab Valley, you know, Power Corporation to start. And so many of these projects that are now being talked about, Pakardul, Ratle, you know,
All have been started by the Congress
there
party.
was Sawalkot,
Yeah.
Kishan Ganga,
Yeah.
Baglihar. These were all initiatives done when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. I remember I was the Power Minister and Dr. Manmohan Singh and Mrs. Gandhi came to inaugurate phase 2 of Baglihar. Kishan Ganga was started. In fact, I took the cabinet note for Kishan Ganga. So many of these initiatives had been started when Mufti Saab and then Ghulam Nabi and then Omar was the chief minister and we had Dr. Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister.
Mr. Ramesh, what if Congress comes back to power in 24 or 30?
I don't think about it, young man. I don't think what if we come back to power.
My question
We have
is
to work to come back to power.
my question is completely related to Jammu and Kashmir. Would you restore 370 and statehood?
No, I mean, these are not questions I can tell you walking on a Bharat Jodo Yatra. You know, at the end of 3.5 hours walking when I'm tired at my age, walking 20 kilometers at a stretch. But I can tell you suddenly that restoration of democratic process,
Which
and
includes the
restoration of
statehood.
full statehood
Yeah.
of Jammu and Kashmir is the starting point of redefining the political settlement that you talk about.
What about the political leaders and the youngsters that have been languishing in jail
You know,
since 2019?
one of the things that I did when I was minister, I was in touch with a large number of young entrepreneurs in Jammu and Kashmir. I can name at least, I met so many of them.
Are you still in touch with them?
I'm still in touch with them. Many of them come to meet me. Khurram, Farooq Kanwal, and then, you know, the Kashmir Chamber of Commerce, and so many initiatives through the entrepreneurs. You know, these were all young people in their mid-30s. Now, of course, they would be in their late 30s and early 40s.
So the first
But I
step
think-
is to restore the democratic
Yes, I think they
process.
all, you know, whenever I meet them, I'm in touch with Kashmiri politicians. I mean, Hasib, for example, is somebody whom I meet at least twice a month. Hasib is a very old friend of mine. And, you know, when he entered into this, when the PDP and the BJP entered into this alliance, I told him on the first day he came to me and he said, you know, this is the alliance. And he was one of the authors of the, you know, common program
Yeah.
between the BJP and the
BJP and
PDP. I said, you know, you won't last more than 2 years. This is a This you're trying to bring two fundamentally different viewpoints together, and that's what happened after a while. So we have to. It's a very sensitive. It requires sensitive handling. It requires delicate handling. It's a border state, and as you yourself asked me, we have a nuisance on the other side of the border. You know, but I think we need to preserve the cultural, religious, linguistic plurality of Jammu and Kashmir. It's a wonderful microcosm of the diversity that
And the new laws that have been brought in, be it education, be it land transfer bills, be it any other bills,
You
the
see-
forest bills, all these things have been bulldozed in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah, I mean, this bulldozing works. You have to recognize that there are concerns, and the Indian Constitution, and I made this point on the 5th of August, that the Indian Constitution has special provisions for the Northeast, for Mizoram, for Manipur, for Tripura, for parts of Assam, for Meghalaya. In fact, the Indian Constitution has special provisions for Telangana, for parts of Karnataka, for Vidarbha, which is in Maharashtra.
Then why to create a
So
monster
why,
out of
yeah,
Kashmir only?
so why pick on Kashmir alone? I mean, of course, this is an agenda of the RSS. And the Jan Sangh, going back to the 50s. And I think Kashmir represents secular nationhood. It's the symbol of secular nationhood, composite nationhood. And the RSS rejects that approach. And repeal of Article 370 was not a surprise in that sense because it's been part of their agenda for many, many years, for decades, in fact. But my question in Parliament was, then how do you allow for special provisions for so many other states? And you never. I mean, it is the Vajpayee government that provided special provisions for the Hyderabad Karnataka region. For 6 districts of Karnataka. There's a special article, I think it's 371J, in the Constitution. So if you can provide a window to recognize the special characteristic of a state like Manipur or Mizoram, or part of a state like Karnataka or Telangana, I think we need to be a little more sensitive, a little more nuanced in our approach. This bulldozing tactics does not work, and I think what I don't think that the way that China has dealt with Xinjiang, or Israel is dealing with its occupied territories. That's not the way that India should be dealing with Jammu and Kashmir.
Then there is also this fear of demography change.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that. No, I'm saying that you cannot do what the Israelis are doing in the occupied territories. You cannot do what China is doing in Xinjiang, or it has done in Tibet, for that matter. So,
like in rest of the talking of the media fraternity, like in the rest of the country,
I think
media has been
what
completely muzzled in Jammu and Kashmir.
Mr. Modi has completely forgotten what Mr. Vajpayee said.
Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat,
Insaniyat, Kashmiriyat,
or Jamhuriyat.
Jamhuriyat. I think he just completely forgotten that. I mean, I'm not surprised he's forgotten because they only do puja to Mr. Vajpayee. They light an agarbatti and do arti to Vajpayee. They're
Not taking the ideological steps of Mr. Vajpayee.
I mean, it was Mr. Vajpayee ultimately. It was during his regime that Mufti Saab, won the election. And it was during his regime that a Congress PDP government came to power. Now today, if there is a election, and let's assume that a Congress-led coalition comes to power, let's assume for that matter, Operation Lotus will start tomorrow, the next day. And you know what Operation Lotus does in different states. I think,
Any tactics to handle Operation Lotus? Because if you come to power, you need to have a hold on the state
yeah.
before they launch their operation.
Well, let's see what happens. We have to strengthen our organization. That's most important. We have to be a strong Congress, a disciplined Congress, a Congress with solidarity is the answer. I'm very glad that in the last 1 week, so many people who left us took a leave of absence to join DAP have come back
Have come
to
back.
the
Yeah,
Congress.
yeah, yeah.
Very good.
What
Very
about the
well.
response of this Yatra in Jammu and Kashmir state? Has there been any difference than the rest of the country?
Well, today is the first day, so I can't, extrapolate based on the first day. But all I can say is that, in spite of the cold, in spite of the rains,
People have
we
come
have had good crowd in this stretch in Katwa. People have come. Yesterday we had a very good handover function
at
right
Pathankot.
next to the majestic statue of Maharaja Gulab Singh,
Gulab Singh.
the founder of the Dogra dynasty. A very impressive function. Farooq Saab was there.
Yeah, yeah.
So the response has been very good. I mean, I've been seeing right since the morning, since 7:45. We've been walking for almost now 4 hours, and I've been seeing on the roads people are there, waving flags, shouting slogans, Nafrat Chodo, Bharat Jodo. I think it's very positive. And I look forward to the next
you
10
intend
days.
to walk down to Srinagar all the way.
Me?
I mean the Yatra.
Yes, absolutely. We will walk.
And there are no security concerns or
No,
the weather
we will walk.
concerns.
We will do some portion by bus. Obviously, we can't walk from Jammu to Srinagar, right? Over 300 kilometers. So, almost 300 kilometers. So we'll do a substantial portion of that by bus. But we will have at least 3 days
Walking.
of Padyatra.
Okay.
We probably will, I don't know, we probably will end up walking for about 45 kilometers. 45 to 50 kilometers on those 3 days.
Okay.
But there is definitely going to be a Padyatra. No question about it. But we have taken precautions. We walk in 2 lines, particularly in Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir. We were asked to take extra precautions.
Mr. Ramesh, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
All
sir.
the best, Danish.
Thank you, sir.
Please subscribe to our channel Reportage and press the bell icon to remain updated.